Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for refusing to let my fiance come on my trip and instead taking someone else? Me, 27F, and my fiance, 29 male, have been together for 4 years and got engaged last September. I'm German and moved here, America, 9 years ago. So my whole family is back home. Because of this, every year my mama gives me money to fly back home for the summer. I always tell her I can pay for tickets myself, but she always insists on paying so she can guarantee I come and visit her. Last week she sent me money for me and my fiance to come visit this summer. He has been coming with me for the past 3 years and we always leave and return on the same days each year. So I bought the tickets and then told him. He said that he actually didn't want to go this year, which made me upset because it would be the first time we visit engaged. I tried convincing him but gave up after a bit cause I can't force him to go. I told my mama what happened and she was sad and said that I can either use the ticket to take a friend or refund it. At work on Monday I was talking to my work friend, 24F, about how I was visiting home this summer. She said that it would be nice to visit home and that she usually does too, but is unable to this year. She's from the Ukraine. I suggested she come to Germany with me since I have an extra ticket and she won't be doing anything. After some talking, planning etc, she accepted. When I got home I was going to tell Fiance, but before I got a chance he told me that has changed his mind and he'll come. I told him it was too late and I just promised the ticket to someone else. He got upset and started saying that it was his ticket from my mama and that it was only a couple days. How could I replace him like that? I told him that has the one that declined and he just left. I've been feeling really bad and I'm wondering if am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA. He declined. If he wants to come he should buy his own ticket. I suggested that to him, but he said he shouldn't have to buy one cause it was supposed to be gift from my mama. NTA. He didn't ask you for a few days to think about it. He told you no. You tried to convince him and he still said no. What was the cutoff date to know he really meant it? You respected his feelings and now he is trying to guilt you for that. Draw a hard line and say no. You will not be guilted for respecting his wishes. As for him saying the ticket was his because it was from your mother to him, I would reply with yes. My mother got it for you and she was hurt when I said you declined and suggested I offer it to someone else. So I did what my mother wanted with a gift you declined. I'll do this. Thank you. Am I the antagonist for not giving my understudy the one night her family can attend? My ballet company is performing Carmen this month. I have the role of Carmen, and I feel it's generally good manners to give your understudy at least one day where they can perform to as they train hard, and it shouldn't be nothing. I told her she could have any night except opening night and the closing night, as opening night is the only night my parents can make it and my grandparents are flying out for the closing night. She was originally fine with this and asked for the second night, so I gave my family the go ahead for those 2 days, but came back to me to let me know the only night her family could make it was the closing night due to a change of plans. She asked me if I could give her that night instead. Now normally I'd be fine with this as it can't be helped, but my grandparents have already booked their tickets for that night. I apologized and told her I can't do that and explained why. She was really upset by this and now is saying there is no point in her even performing at all in this case. I feel horrible about this and guilty, but my family are literally flying out for this and it's not like they can go to a later date once here as it's the final night. I honestly don't know how to make this better. Am I the antagonist for this? Should I try and ask my grandparents to swap their flights? Now for the top comments. NTA. Honestly, as a former performer myself, closing night often feels just as important as opening night. It would have been incredibly generous of you to have let your understudy have the last night anyway, but your grandparents are already scheduled to come out. Give her some time, she'll work something out. Yup, opening and closing nights are special. You earned the lead. You should not give up those important nights. Her family should know this. It sounds to me like she is trying to manipulate her way to a more important role, or maybe she hasn't been honest with her family about her role. NTA. Nothing about the plans changed except their convenience for her. She agreed to your conditions and later changed her mind. You have no obligation to bend here, considering how generous your initial offer actually was in the first place. Am I the antagonist for asking a group of moms to move their work out to a field once a week? Last summer we bought a new home. One huge perk being that it was close to our neighborhood park. My kids, 4 and 2, love playgrounds and we like to go at least a few times a week. We come to find out that a local fitness trainer hosts mom boot camp type workouts at this park. Twice a morning for 90 minutes each. I'm completely supportive of moms trying to stay in shape while they have kids. But it's really impacting my kids' ability to enjoy themselves, as the moms will use the playground equipment to attach resistance bands, do elevated push-ups, or step-ups. My boys both mention that they have to avoid those playground areas while the moms are there. We got to a point where we just tried to go before or after the classes, but with our nap schedule it just hasn't been working out. Would I be the asshole for calling the trainer and asking her to move about 50 yards over to the big open field one day a week? She's not paying the city any amount to use the park, and making quite a large amount considering the amount of moms that usually are participating. It just seems unfair. Yes, I know. Life's not fair that my kids can't play freely on the equipment so that she can profit. But I figured asking for one day to consistently have the playground equipment open to kids seems fair. Now for the top comments. I would call whatever municipality is in charge of that park and report to them that a business is using its facilities for free to make a profit, probably without permits. My dad worked for a city and cared for a park as part of his job. The class cannot interfere with the public's ability to access the park and park equipment. More than once I can remember dad and the park administrator being annoyed by people who thought they could do whatever because it was a city park and could not care less that they were inconveniencing others. NTA. Playground equipment is for kids, not adults. Trainer can always buy portable equipment to set up in the field for the moms. Edited. Forgot to add not the a-hole. Agreed. A personal peeve of mine is when adults won't let the kids play and ate on the equipment to mindlessly fiddle with their cell phones. Am I the antagonist for letting people mock my ridiculous mother-in-law on Facebook? My fiancé and I have been planning the wedding of our dreams with minimal hiccups, except the earth-cracking issues my future mother-in-law have caused. She's thrown tantrum after tantrum over pretty much every little thing, and as a grown woman deals with conflict like a child, including name-calling, berating, back-to-back phone calls, and texts, and just downright screaming. This has consumed our life the last several weeks as we decided to tell her no. That's not our plan once, and stuck to it. You would have thought the universe exploded. She's crazy manipulative, and mainly just plain crazy, and pretty much conditioned my fiancé to appeal to her moods. He finally had enough and stopped replying altogether during her tantrums, and it's made it 10 times worse. We've been polite and respectful through this entire thing regardless, and offered to sit down and talk like adults. Of course she's not having it and refuses to do anything but argue, name call, and demand. After months of being attacked, I found a Facebook post that was talking about weddings being for the couple and no one else. It resonated with me wholeheartedly, and I decided to share it knowing it would cause an issue. But after being torn apart, I'm done caring. She immediately threw a fit and screenshot it and texted it to my fiancé, to which he didn't reply. She then decided to comment on it, interesting take, to make a point that she's seen it. Understandably so. Our personal friends and even our coworkers have gotten wind of the pure hell she's put us through. Since her tantrums have no time limit, it's not uncommon for her to call us at work or when we're out with friends and they hear what probably sounds like a drowning cat on the other end of the phone. That goes on for hours. I shared the post because I was done. What I didn't expect was a sheer group of people commenting and saying how spot on it was and referencing the shitty comments she's made to Fianc and I time and time again. I immediately starting laughing like crazy because mother-in-law is very good at hiding the crazy and keeping it in the family, so to speak. but it's not hard to get wind of what's going on if you've been around us for any amount of time during wedding planning. One of my coworkers made a comment that was an exact quote from her. My fiance said that it's too much and too rude and I should take the post down because it's egging on drama. Am I the asshole for keeping it up and allowing her to see what people think of her true colors? Now for the top comments. At some point you're going to have to decide if you want a toxic person screaming at you in your life or not, because that sort of behavior is unacceptable. It sounds as though it's an absolute certainty you're soon to be nil will cause a scene before the ceremony, during the ceremony or reception. Not the a-hole BTW. Agreed. And it also sounds like FH has a shiny but potentially brittle spine when it comes to her. Oh, sometimes you just have to let people experience the find out part. NTA. And also, please consider having a look at r/Ray said be narcissists with your partner. She sounds like an absolutely batshit textbook narc. Am I the antagonist for paying for my son's wedding when I made my other son elope? I have two sons, Carl, 38, and Jacob, M36. Jacob got married when he was 18. He asked me to pay for his wedding, but I refused. My reasons were, he is too young to get married, I don't approve of his fiance, he has been with this girl for 1 year, which in my idea is not long enough, he didn't have enough money, so they had to elope. 1 year later they had their first child, a boy, and a year after that they had their second child, a girl, Jade. They decided that they can't handle 2 kids and told us they are gonna give her up for adoption. I was angry at them because I had warned him about it. I told him they are too young to have a kid, let alone 2 kids, but they didn't listen to me. I convinced him to let me and her mother adopt Jade and he agreed. We went to another city and Carl came with us as well. For the past 16 years we were low contact with Jacob, even though my wife and I adopted Jade. Cole was the one who raised her, and he did an amazing job. Jade considers him her dad now. A year ago Carl got engaged to his fiancée, Maya. Maya is an amazing woman. They were together for 5 years before they got engaged. She is like a mom to Jade, and I consider her my daughter. A few weeks ago we went back to the city that Jacob lives as Jade, who had a very hard time when she found out she is adopted, is doing better now, and is ready to meet her aunt and uncle. Carl and Maya are getting married soon. To thank them for raising Jade and being such an amazing parents to her, I told them I'm gonna pay all their wedding expenses. A few days ago we were at Jacob's home and they asked Carl about his wedding. He told him that I'm paying for everything, and Jacob and his wife went mad. They told me it's not fair that I'm paying for his wedding when I made them elope. They said I'm showing favoritism. Jacob is not talking to me now. He says he won't talk to me unless I make it up to him. AITA, edit. Carl didn't raise Jade all alone. We lived in the same home and co-parented, but he was eager to be her dad, and she has been calling him dad from the moment she started talking. However, I was responsible for paying for her, not Carl. We offered to help Jacob and his wife raise her, but they didn't accept. The reason I didn't mention my grandson much is because he had no part in this situation. It doesn't mean I don't love him. He is living with his parents and is an amazing and kind-hearted boy. Now for the top comments. NTA. Jacob and his wife are entitled us who are more focused on what they can get than the fact that they abandoned their own child. Literally, the fact that Op didn't say I'll write you a check for the same cost your brother's wedding. If you write me one for the cost of raising your child shows he's not an R. NTA, you and Carl already made it up to him. You raised his kid. Edit. Sure, I matched the money into a college fund for Jade. You're welcome. NTA, you and Carl already made it up to him. You raised his kid. Retweet. NTA, your concerns as a parent were valid for not approving of the marriage. The outcome speaks for itself. Now that your other son is ready to be married under what normal people would consider favorable and sensible circumstances, I can see why you would be supportive of the marriage. Having said that, neither son is entitled to your support in the marriage costs. That is up to you to determine. In this case, I don't see any issues with your decision. Am I the antagonist for making my parents look bad and for spending money on a stranger? Me, 20F, parents, 56F54 male. It might be worth mentioning, but me and my parent have clashed on money before. Mainly that I don't spend it properly and instead buy secondhand 99% of the time. We were in line at Tesco, a grocery store in the UK, and a couple with a child in front of us were buying some food. Parents may be like 20, 30 and the kid may be 8. Their card didn't go through, and after a bit of them looking panicked I asked how much they had to pay, and it was only 20 something, so I bought it for them. While I was paying my mum kept yanking on my jacket and telling me to stop, while my dad kept shaking his head and agreeing with her. I helped them put stuff into their bags, and they left after thanking me. My parents started telling me off for falling for a scam, and that I was a stupid child for paying for somebody who'd never pay me back, that I'd have no money in life if I kept this up etc etc. I snapped at them and asked them if 20 was really that big of a deal and that just because they spent money on cars and expensive clothes didn't mean I wanted to. They said later that it embarrassed them in front of the other people in the cashier, who kept her head down the whole time and didn't even speak to us, and that it made them look stuck up. Am I the antagonist? I don't regret spending the money, but should I have just kept my mouth shut in the after? Now for the top comments. NTA. Yes, there are some scammers out there, but there's also a chance that they weren't, and you did a sweet thing. I've paid for people's shopping before, and in uni I paid for a girl's washing before. I genuinely believe in just making some people smile. Be proud of yourself for wanting to help others equals, and if they're embarrassed then they should think about why they feel that way. To add to this, the one who started the financial argument in public was Op's parents. They could have kept their opinion to themselves, but chose to voice it out loud. They embarrassed themselves. NTA. If your parents had kept their mouths shut there would have been no reason for you open yours either. NTA. If your parents don't want to have a public confrontation with you, they shouldn't berate you in public. You could have waited until later to express your opinion. Sure, but that's true for them too.